What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. Finally, I'm back. It's been about 4 months since I made a video. A lot has changed, so I'm gonna try to go over some of that stuff in this video and try to get back to making weekly updates. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys will know that I took over this shop about a month ago. This is the same shop I've been in for the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 months, but I was just renting this small space here in the back corner, and the other guys that were in here ended up moving out. So I took over the full 4,000 square feet, and you can see already we're starting to fill this place up pretty quick. Right now it is 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm just starting this week's work. It's Monday. I now go to school Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then I usually come down to the shop at night and get some work done, and then I'm usually here on the weekends. So my schedule is super busy lately, but I know I need to get back on videos. I've gotten a lot of messages on people wanting to see what's going on and everything. So here to get back to it. So the low budget buggy is at the same exact point that it was in the last video. I have not had time to work on it. Hopefully I can get back on it soon, but for now it's just been sitting. If you guys remember this Jeep, the stretched CJ LJ tube chassis project from about a year ago. I started for one customer and then ended up selling to another customer, and it's finally back in the shop and we're finally getting back to work on it. So you'll see a lot of that coming up soon. And we got Andrew's 3-seat portal car. Been working on this thing a lot lately. Finally got some, now that I have space in here, I finally got some tools I've been waiting on for a long time. Finally got a big bandsaw, got a lathe, plasma table back here as always. Got a nice little fab area, got some plexiglass for my wife's daycare back here, but got the Dragon down here, so it's no longer at my house, which is nice to finally have it in one place. Not having to go back and forth from the house to the shop. Makes things a lot easier, a lot more efficient. Right now I got the trailer and the Jeep in here because I just got in from school, so I'll get these pulled out. That way we can get to work in here. So today I'm gonna be working on the CJ. So on Saturday I was in here getting some of the subframe tubes laid out, or I guess the slider tubes, adding all these lacing tubes. That way I can get to boxing in body mounts to tie the frame into the tub. So I got that side tacked in. Today I'm gonna work on getting these tubes put in, and then work on getting body mounts made. The tub's been sitting for a while now, so I gotta get in here and clean it all up. That way it looks nice, and keep working on this thing. It's got the Moto-Built YJ 15-inch stretch corner guards, the stretch sliders, and then the aluminum tailgate. So if you guys don't remember this build, I started it about a year ago, and then it's just been sitting, waiting on the time and space to work on it again. And then this buggy is getting this set of spider tracks that the customer ended up getting a pretty good deal on. So we're gonna cut all of the bracketry off, cut this truss off, and do a nice new ram mount. All new link mounts and shock mounts and everything. These are a really good set of axles, but the customer wants something a little nicer. It's gonna end up with a real similar ram mount truss that we did on Andrew's car. Something just nice and clean. So Thomas is gonna be here in a little bit, and he's gonna work on cleaning up those axles, getting all that bracketry cut off and everything. I'm gonna work on the slider tubes for the driver's side, and then we'll kind of go from there. So let's get to it. So in true me fashion, the first day back to making videos was not off to a great start. So there's going to be a bunch of random clips in this video while I sit in my truck during lunch at school and edit this video. I'm throwing in random explanations of what's going on in the video because I have done a horrible job at explaining what I'm doing. So that's the reason for these random clips. So the first day I had every intention of recording what I was doing, and as soon as I started working I just got lazy with it and didn't record anything. So day one was a bust. Day two of this week we started cutting out a chassis for a customer, and having the Dragon down at the shop now is super nice. Able to take tube right off the Dragon, put it onto the little material cart that I built. That way we can take it kind of from the Dragon to the prep area, to the bending area, and then finally to the area where we're going to assemble chassis in the back corner. Whenever I was out of my house, I would either load tubing up on a pallet or just hand carry it from one spot to another, which was kind of a nightmare. So having this big open space now opens things up for a lot more efficient ways of moving things around. The next day we started working on Andrew's car. I started unboxing all of the kit from Busted Knuckle to do the carrier bearing, but realized the kit didn't come with U-joints. So while we're waiting on the carrier bearing, I decided to knock out the center console area tubing support structure. Just some down tube structure to attach from the debris bars down to the main frame rails. Basically just a place to land the center console tubes. The center console is kind of going to be like a frameless center console. I'm not going to have a whole lot of tubing support. It's just going to be one big aluminum centerpiece with some removable panels on the side to access things like electrical components and the air intake. music down a little so I don't get copywritten. My iPhone ran out of storage, so I'm back to the GoPro. So hopefully it's not too bad of footage, but this is where we're at. Got these down tubes put in on both sides of the debris bars. Basically, I needed something to come down and connect into the chassis. Not a whole lot of room on either side because this side is going to have exhaust coming down through. I would have liked to see this tube tie down into the corner down here, but I think that's going to be too much in the way of exhaust and then the starters on this side. And then for the other side, the carrier bearing is pretty much going to take up this whole area right here, and then the drive shaft, U-joint and everything is a pretty big package in that space right there. So doing a miter and tying into the chassis here is kind of our only option. This tube just needs to be a structure to tie the aluminum center console into, give it some kind of structure, because we're not going to do a frame in this portion back here just because of the packaging and everything. So it's just going to be a removable center console section, probably going to do a top and then sides with removable access panels to get to the air filter. The filter is kind of going to poke out the corner of the console, just because it's such a big item to package in this small space. But I want to get those tubes in there, that way we can start working on the center console. Once I go pick up that U-joint, we'll work on the carrier bearing. And then next thing's gonna be getting these floors mounted. I like to just do a really big general dimension profile. I'm going to end up trimming the inside, but I'd rather have too much material than not enough. Once we do the console and tab this to tie the console into the floor, I'd rather have too much than not enough. So we'll figure out where the console is going to land, do a edge flange with Zeus fasteners in the side, and then trim away the backside that we don't need. So the next thing I'm going to do to the floor is trim it out to fit around that tube so we can get this back in there and then start tabbing the floor. So that was the first just very rough cut of notching that out. Just wanted to get it a rough shape, that way I could fit the floor panel in there. And then, like I said, this is going to end up getting trimmed a bunch, so I'm not super concerned on the overall fitment of that notch around this tube. Like I said, it was just to be able to get the panel in there, and then we'll end up evenly clearancing this all the way around to where it looks good. But also the center console panel is going to come over this and have a flange, so you won't really see that notch area too much. So I was a little bit off of where I notched it. It needed to be a little further back, but it's kind of hard sometimes to figure out where that notch needs to be until the panel's all the way flat in there. So Next thing is gonna be, I think I'm gonna tab just here, and maybe one along the front, just to hold this panel in place where it goes, and then we'll call it good on this side until we get the console in there. I do need to trim out where these seat pivot tabs, or whatever you want to call them, push forward when you pull the pin out. Slide the seat forward and this tab will slide in past where this edge flange is to be able to come forward and clear these hooks in the back. So I'll need to clearance that. Same thing with the other side. But for now, we'll get that other floor pan trimmed to where we can set it in there and then start putting some tabs on. So when it comes to putting any kind of panel tab, Zeus tab, whatever it is, quarter 20s or Zeus tabs, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Basically anything that you need to get flush to the top of a tube. I started 3D printing these little various size, this one's 1.75 inches, little jig thing for getting panel tabs aligned with the top of the tube. It magnets to the panel tab, and it's just a universal kind of length on this. This one's way too big of a surface area on here, but when you put a Zeus fastener or maybe a longer tab or something, this still works for it. So basically what I do is just magnet this to it, kind of offset it just a little bit. Get you guys closer in here. I've already marked out where the edge of my tab needs to be centered in between these two lines, but basically just offset it a little bit to where you have some flat surface area here. And then I like to use, some people use angle iron, I like to use a stainless piece of square tubing so that the magnet doesn't stick to this tube. But then all I'm trying to do is just rotate that until the top of that tab is flush with that plane of the top of this tube and the top of this tube where that panel is going to sit. So now that I know that that's flush, I can take the stainless piece back off and just throw 2 tacks on the outside of this, remove the magnet, weld up that tab, and we're good to go. All right, so both of the floor panels in there for now, tabbed, at least 4 tabs on the outside. I'll end up putting tabs on this center frame rail, but for now that's good enough to hold them in there. That one, I ended up breaking this seam on a sheet metal brake, and then this one I had to do a slot on the plasma table and just break it by hand, and then I'll have to weld that whole seam. So that's why this one has a slot, but I'll have to do that on these as well. But for now, that's good. They're in there. So that's it for Andrew's car today. Thomas got the Spider Tracks housings completely cleaned off. For the CJ is kind of on hold for now. We got the front axle cleaned off, which I needed to get that done so that I could mock up the axles in there, but I need to get the drivetrain in first. That way I know where I'm putting shock mounts and all that kind of stuff to get this thing a roller. Rear housing is cleaned off as well. So I did end up getting the front body mount in there, the second body mount, and then the third body mount is right here. But I'm gonna wait on doing that one because I think I'm gonna tie that body mount and the B-pillar in this area right here and do it all in one mount, because the B-pillar is gonna land right in that area. The body mount is right where that nub is. So I'm gonna land the B-pillar in the same plate structure as that body mount, just so it's all tied together solid. And then for these body mounts, if I didn't show you guys before, but I ended up machining these aluminum pucks to take up the space in between the tub and the slider, because we're not running rubber body mounts, we're just solid mounting everything. And we needed to fill that space in between the body mount on our chassis and the actual tub. So that's what I did. They're various spacing along the slider. This one's about a 1-inch space, and then the ones as you go down, I think those are closer to like 1/2-inch little pucks. So anyway, at least the frame is tied to the tub now. That way it's not gonna move around on us for now. And then I got the hood and the grill just mocked up. No tabs made yet, but just wanted to kind of get a visual of what we're looking at. Once I get the drivetrain in there, then I'll do the fender tube that's gonna connect from here, go around, come down and tie into this slider tube. That corner junction, we'll cut out the slider a little bit, land the tube there. And then our shock hoop will come up, kind of do up, around, down, and then land into this other side of this junction. And then we'll do some other lacing in here and stuff. Crossover tube that'll tie the two shock towers together, and then come off the shock tower, go back through the firewall and connect into the A-pillar. So that's kind of the plan on this. Really want to get drivetrain back in here. I originally mocked it up with a 4L60 and my old 5.3 out of my buggy, but now he's going to do a turbo 400 in here, so we need to get all that stuff mocked up in here again before we get too far into the chassis. So that's kind of it on that for now. This buggy, Toyota, whatever you want to call it, is in here for some wiring, and my Jeep's got a dead battery. So that's kind of it for this week. Got another chassis cut out the other day, so there was random footage of cutting that out in this video. But a little bit of a slow start this week. Today is Saturday. Didn't really film anything all week except for a little bit on Monday, but I'm tired. I'm gonna try to get videos out at least once a week. Hopefully, it's a lot to get videos done, but I'm gonna do my best. Super enjoying my little office space in here, getting set up with 3D printers. I just picked up a bamboo X1 carbon from my friend today, so that's super cool. I'm excited about that. I need to build a table probably along this wall over here or something for my 3D printers, not take up my desk space, but got my little drawing room in here. Got a nice window I can see out into the shop, keep an eye on all the guys that don't work for me, you know? So thank you guys for watching. Once again, welcome back. It's been a long time, but I am gonna get back on videos. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to keep it classy, and I'll see you guys next time.